Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Paramystic Christina. I'm your host, Christina Bloom, and I am here today with Julie Wichman, who is a Reiki master. I can speak. I can. I've done this
I
before.
know, we were just having technical difficulty.
I know, right? She is also a Sophia Code mentor of the key codes, and I would love to hear more about that before we talk about 2025 in the year of the snake. So, what is a Sophia Code mentor of the key codes?
Oh boy, Christina.
I know, small questions. I know.
More questions.
Just a little.
Just the little ones, just the little
Yeah.
ones. A Sophia Code mentor is a living transmission from the Sophia Dragon tribe. Uh, on my journey of becoming embracing myself, my higher self, um, going through the codes with the goddesses, healing all the ancestral wounds, traumas that we go through. And if we wanted to talk about the year of the snake, and that letting go, and then I could incorporate how the Sophia Code mentoring comes into like a topic of the year of the snake when we're shedding our old beliefs and growing our new skin.
Right.
Um, I have been guided to use this code of the goddesses, goddess Isis. They have a code, a story, and a ritual, and I have embodied then all of the moving parts that come with that.
Awesome. Wow, that sounds like a lot. That sounds like that's a
Yeah,
big job. That's
yeah.
a big job.
And there's seven key codes, and it's just so amazing, and it goes around the wheel of karma, and as life goes on and the wheel of karma spins, and those things are brought up for the reason to heal them.
Mm-hmm.
And since I was, remember, I am here to heal my broken heart. That was just, you have that ruminating, like, what am I doing here? And I'm like,
Yeah.
that is what I'm here to do. So,
That's
and then things happen and you get to where you are.
exactly. And then where we are takes us to the next point of where we're going. So yeah, that's really interesting. And I was just recently on a show where we were talking about the journeys, and how
Mm-hmm.
we come out of where we don't want to be and we decide where we do want to be, and then we somehow magically think we're already where we want to be without going through the journey. And I feel
Right.
like the year of the snake and the Sophia code that you're talking about and all of that feeds into learning the journey, because the journey is the most important part,
And
right?
to the journey, I am also going to add the word way.
Okay.
The code is showing you the way through, the
Right.
way, the way through.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. I love that. I mean, we hear this every year lately, like this year is going to be a pivotal year, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
2025, where everything has moved into Aquarius from Capricorn, right? So
Mm-hmm.
from the heavy industrial into the light. And why don't we have all of the unicorns and rainbows right now? And that, again, that's part of the journey.
Right.
It's a part showing the way. Add into that the year of the snake, where we're all still shedding. And this is a 20-year process that we've moved into astrologically. And shedding that old skin is not a comfortable process.
and it's a year 9. It's a 9 year right now, and
Yes,
I not off the top of my head, but I know it's good.
you're right, because it's the completion year.
Completion. It's the completion. So the snake, it's
Hmm.
yep.
Yeah, so that's why we have all of this craziness that's going on around the world, and not just in the United States, but it seems like there are so many other countries that are politically in upheaval too, right?
A
Like
lot.
everywhere, there's so much upheaval. And I know I've talked about this on other shows too, but if you follow me, you're going to hear this a lot this year. So just buckle up.
Mhm.
Okay. It's really about, as we're going through this age of ascension and moving into 5D, still having to live in a 3D world, right? We still have to keep physical bodies alive and roofs over our heads and food in our
Mhm.
stomachs and all of that. But as we're moving through that, we need to understand that it is a process. And what's happening is that all of the gunk that's been stuck to the bottom is floating to the top. And it's been floating to the top for the last 5 years or so in a very, very obvious way.
Mhm.
That's going to increase as we are releasing and scraping the yuck off the top.
Absolutely.
So hang in there, folks. The light is there. We're still scraping off the gunk.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you think of yourself as a little mud cocoon, and you're a light on the inside, and
Yep.
you're just keep chipping away at your little mud cocoon until your light gets bigger and bigger, and you can shine your light into the dark shadows,
Hmm.
because the shadows can't exist
In
if
the
you're
light.
shining your
Yeah.
light. So
Yeah. And I love the cocoon idea. It's also kind of like the egg idea where if
in
it's
the
broken from the inside,
transformation.
yeah, if it's broken from the inside, it brings light and love
Mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm.
life. If it's
Right,
broken from the outside, it's destruction.
right,
So, we are breaking through our collective cocoon from the inside to bring more light into the world. And,
right.
that's not an easy process necessarily, but we've been doing it for a while and we're getting better at it. What do you got in your hand there?
I have a community card.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah, and going back to your interview yesterday, we have butterflies and rainbows. And when you were talking with Kurt, you mentioned
Glenn,
Glenn. I'm sorry, Glenn. I apologize. You mentioned community
a lot.
a
That came through a
lot.
lot.
It
Yeah.
did, and I'm just wondering if there is anything that today, looking, reflecting a little of what and we'll go to talk about the new earth and the communities coming forth in the new earth.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Well, we are now in a position pretty much worldwide where we're looking at our political leaders and going, that's not working for most people. We're going to have to start doing it ourselves, right?
Mm-hmm,
Well,
mm-hmm.
that isn't necessarily a backward step. That's a forward step through progress. And honestly, like I had to rewatch that episode that we released yesterday because when I channel, I don't remember anything that comes through.
Right,
So I
right.
had no idea what I was saying. I was just channeling, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Right,
um, but community came up pretty much through everyone who channeled through me. Every light being that came through me
right,
talked about
right.
community and
Mm-hmm.
how we are realizing that we can't just hand over everything to systems. Like we can't just hand over our health to the medical system. We can't just
Right.
hand our kids over to the education system. We can't just hand over our own personal well-being to the financial system. And now they're trying to make that all digital and everybody has their opinion about that. But I'm not here to express my opinion on that. What I'm here to say is that we are all looking back now and going, okay, time to step up and start taking responsibility for ourselves
Mm-hmm.
individually, as
Mm-hmm.
families, as communities. And there are a lot of people that I have talked to, and I think you were one of them actually, people that I have talked to about how communities are coming together. There've been community gardens for a long time, but now people are growing, they're getting with their neighbors and saying, "Okay, I will grow this, you grow that, we'll trade." You
Right.
know,
Right.
and how more of that is going on. And so we are taking control of our food supply again, which also feeds into our medical systems because
Mm-hmm.
a lot of our medical issues have to do with poor food and poor nutrition.
Oh,
And that leads
100%.
and
Right.
that leads into the education system because how many kids do we have who are not getting their nutritional needs meet, who are acting up in schools? It's all connected. It's
Absolutely.
all connected. And so what came through to me yesterday and or even in the aftermath of that, because we actually recorded it the day before, what came through to me is really just knowing what my truth is,
Mm-hmm.
standing in my truth, and this is for everybody, not just for me,
Mm-hmm.
standing in my truth and, removing aspects of my life that no longer fit where I am today.
Mm-hmm.
And welcoming in other aspects. And again, this is for everybody, not just for me. I'm just phrasing it that way. It feels like shedding our old skin is shedding old systems.
Correct. Yeah, I can totally agree with you on that feeling. I wrote down a bunch of notes while I was preparing for this yesterday and got a lot of uh, great messages. But did you have a card deck back there that you wanted to
Ooh, all right. I'm going to
maybe?
give you the
Oh,
choice:
okay.
Tarot of the Divine or Heavenly Bloom.
Tarot of the Divine.
Okay, let's just see what comes out here. So, the way that I do this, just for those of you who can't see what I'm doing, I shuffle my deck until something falls out. And that's the card, unless something calls to me. Oh, here we go. The
That's
Hermit.
wonderful. What a great system.
Yeah, here we go. We have the Hermit in this deck of the cards of the Divine. The Hermit looks like a druid to me.
Yeah.
And it's in the, he's walking through, well, I'm assuming he could be a she. It's a hooded figure with a staff walking through a dark forest, and there is a white stag jumping in the air behind the hermit, or behind the cloaked figure. And when I look at that and I think about what we're talking about today, that really is bringing us back to ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
and waking up from the old conditioning,
Mm-hmm.
waking up to ourselves and going, all right, maybe it's time for me to just spend some time going inside.
Mm-hmm.
For me, that's hitting the woods. That's like, and if there's a river or a stream or a brook or any kind of running water, that's a bonus.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is really about just going inward. And I feel like this whole year is going to be about going inward as we are shedding the old conditioning that has been controlling most of us most of our lives. I mean, at my age, and I'm looking back and going, yeah, those systems have always been in place for as long as I've been alive.
Right, right. And I got a whole message about exactly what we're talking about. And I just know the main theme is people should stop judging each other. And
Absolutely.
in our last talk that we had, Christina, they brought it up again.
Hmm.
And by they, I'm going to mean my high
Okay.
counsel that's guiding me divinely through my life.
Right.
That that's
I know you get to the point where you're just
totally,
like, yep, this is what it
I
is.
just yeah, and I totally lost what I wanted to say next. So I
That's
apologize.
okay. No, don't apologize. What's happening is that spirit is moving through you.
Right,
And
right.
they're like, you're overthinking this. Let's keep it simple.
Yeah, and I just kind of lost my that place then.
Hmm.
The don't not judging your neighbor because they are doing the best they can,
Right.
just as you are doing the best you can. And the message to the light workers was hold your light. Hold your light, because right now is when we are needed to shine on these darker areas,
Hmm.
because we were there, and we need to be like, oh man, let me, help you out and shine my light on you and lift you up best I can from near or
Hmm.
far.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Just holding the light. Because as all this darkness is bubbling to the surface for all of us to see, holding the light is so key.
Right.
So key. All
And
right. You're pulling a card there, I
yes,
see.
and I did have this one as well.
Ooh, love and
Love and
compassion. That
compassion.
is a beautiful card of two hearts or two
Yeah,
hands reaching towards a heart that looks like it's emanating light. That is gorgeous.
isn't that beautiful?
That is.
So that goes with the community, and we were have healing chaos that
Hmm.
we're going through it. So the
Yeah.
deck I have today, and we were talking about, I said, shine your light. The deck I'm
Mhm.
working with is by Rebecca Campbell. Work Your Light, Oracle Guidebook.
Oh,
It's all,
wow.
look at how pastel, and it's all
Right.
pastel gold.
And it's got the triangle, the triune there inside
Mhm.
of the ball of light.
Yeah,
Yeah, and the pillars, that's amazing. That is just beautiful.
it is. And it's a brand new deck, Christina. So let's see.
Oh yeah,
So,
you will have to shuffle that a bit. I can't read what
oh,
that says. What is it?
okay.
You are the
You
oracle.
are the Oracle.
Yeah.
Very cool. While I shuffle this,
Yeah.
Christina, is there anything else that you wanted to add in about the year of the snake, or
I actually don't know that much about Chinese astrology, but I do know from my own Native American background, what you look at, what is the characteristic of a particular animal, right? So the
Mhm.
characteristic of a snake is that they outgrow their skin. They outgrow their skin, and depending on the breed of the snake, it can be once or twice a year. Snakes are social, which a lot of people don't realize, but snakes can be social, at least with each other, if not with us. But some of them are even social with us,
Mhm.
where there are different breeds of snakes and people have them. My niece loves snakes. She actually got me to hold some snakes
Oh
and
my
took
gosh.
pictures to prove it. So, and it's not like I'm afraid of snakes. I just don't know enough about them to know which ones are safe for people to handle.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
and as I say that, what pops into my head is that's kind of what we're learning. Like, which snakes are safe to handle here, and which
Mhm.
ones do we just walk away from?
Right, right.
And take that any way you want it.
Right,
So,
right. I am not a snake person. I would not care to come any closer. But lots of people are, and
mhm.
I will watch from over here. They are beautiful from over here.
They are. And some snakes have just beautiful patterns on them.
Oh, honey,
And the thing is that some of the most dangerous snakes have the most beautiful patterns,
you're absolutely right.
So if we're translating that into humans, you kind of got to be careful about, what are you attracted to and why? Because a year of the snake, the beginning of the age of Aquarius, all of that really is about becoming aware of how we are and how we want to be, and being
Mhm.
honest with ourselves about which behaviors are taking us into snake pits and which ones aren't.
Correct, right. Making wise choices, and then maybe
Hmm.
coming into awareness when you're not, and
Right.
what are you looking for when you're making these horrible choices? And by horrible choices is all by, I guess, your own definition, you
Right.
know.
Right.
My
Choices that are good for you or not good for you,
Right.
or
I was in a job that I just didn't like. I didn't like at all. So I worked
Mhm.
very hard to either work my way up in the company or get enough experience to move on. I've had a lot of jobs in my life that way because I just kind of outgrow those other jobs. And I feel I'm
right.
just kind of climbing just a personal ladder. Like, I
Hmm.
started out um, doing the hardest job on earth, one of them who,
Hmm.
everybody did.
Right.
And trying to work your way up and be smarter and better. That's all a person has to do is want better for themselves.
Right. And what's peaceful for you too,
Right,
you know?
right. And then, that's easier said than done. There's the
Hmm.
whole journey to
Right.
let all of those things go.
Right. And we just discussed on a different show about how let's say I want to leave my driveway in Wisconsin and I want to drive to Sedona, Arizona.
Hmm.
Okay. Well, there's a whole lot of Nebraska and Kansas between Wisconsin and
Hmm.
Arizona, right? So that's kind of symbolic of the journey, too, because when we decide that we are going to do better for ourselves, that we are going to stop living the way that's hurting us, we have to also understand that there's a lot of chaos involved in what we do.
Hmm.
And with chaos often comes excitement. So we move
Right.
out of that, and all of a sudden we're bored, hence Kansas and
Hmm.
Nebraska, and we're bored and we're just like, oh, I don't think I
Because
like
look at the
this.
butterflies are coming
Out of
out.
the tornado. Yeah. And which
Right.
card is that? I can't quite see
That
what
was
it
the
says.
healing
The
chaos.
healing chaos, right? There's a tornado
Right, right.
and butterflies coming out of the tornado, but then the pink sky in the background with dark clouds as well. And
That's
yeah.
very powerful, that magenta
Mm-hmm.
back there.
Yes, it is. This is exactly it. And as we're
Hmm.
going through this year, and a lot of us are shedding our old skins in many different arenas in our lives,
Right.
we have to understand that sometimes those times of quiet and peace can feel like boredom if we're used to chaos and activity.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
Yep.
Did you pull a card? Did
I
you?
I pulled three.
Oh,
I went
awesome.
Bam, bam,
Let's
bam.
hear it.
Let's hear it. Okay, first card number one is a priestess card. How are you being called to step up and lead? The
Wow.
priestess. What would you call that? What would you say she looks like? I didn't really look. Is that an
She
angel?
Well, she kind of looks like a child with
Yeah,
angel wings and a veil, but only on half of her head.
yeah,
Yeah, that's really interesting. It's kind of the balance between
yeah.
our human selves and our spirit selves.
Right, right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Priestess, how are you being called to step up and lead? So that,
yeah,
yeah, how are you being called? What are you, where are you going to step up? Is it your job, your relationship, even, oh, I got a crappy car. I'm going to save up and get a better car, anything to improve yourself.
right, right.
Oh, Mintonkin, longing for home, belonging, the original light workers. That looks like Hawaii.
Yeah, it does.
I have
And
been
yeah.
talking with, or did right maybe around New Year's, Christmas, Goddess Pele and the Hawaiian goddess down there. I read the whole story about the Hawaiian coming over and the volcano. There was a
Hmm.
volcano that erupted there too. That
Right.
and there was a fire and water, and then
Hmm.
shortly after that, the fire started. Maybe
Yeah, I don't know. I did have a question about that card though,
yes.
because I couldn't see it clearly enough to see
Oh,
if
I'm
that was
yeah.
is that a woman sitting on the cliff or is that a mermaid? I can't tell.
I'm trying to look, and I would say could be a mermaid.
Okay. Yeah, it kind of looked like fins there. and
Yeah.
sitting on a white cliff overlooking like a turquoise colored water that goes between
Hmm.
where she's sitting, which it looks like above a cave too. So maybe like crawling out of our caves and
Right, right. And the cosmos is up
yeah,
here behind there.
right. The cosmos and around a
Oh,
mountain
another
and
beautiful
wow.
underwood color.
Yeah. Aqua being the aqua and white being the predominant colors in that car.
Yeah,
It's beautiful.
right.
Yeah.
Mintaken?
Yeah.
Mintaken.
It
Hmm.
looks like Mintakan to me too.
Yeah, Mintaken. And the last card is Lemuria.
I love it.
You can't even. Creating heaven on earth. It's happening. Oh my gosh.
I
My
know,
hand
right?
is shaking.
Yeah, I can't see that card when you're shaking.
Right, right.
Okay.
Hold it, hold it, hold it.
Yeah, and again, mountains and turquoise colored water and a beautiful sunset and a lot of greenery. So it's, as you're looking at Lemurian, that's kind of what we think about as maybe a heaven type of a thing too, where
Hmm.
the higher consciousness, the higher vibrations, all of that.
Look
Yeah.
at that sun, that
That is,
sunset.
yeah, that's beautiful. I can't tell if it's a sunrise or a sunset, but it's beautiful
Right.
either way,
Yep.
right? So,
Am I moving
yeah.
too much? Because I'm trying to
I know
keep.
you're trying to get it to focus in. Yeah. Looks like there's caves in those mountains too above the water and
Hmm.
waterfalls and paradise. It looks like paradise.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, what a great deck. What a great deck.
That is beautiful. I'm feeling drawn to pull something from the Heavenly Bloom. And no, it's I didn't create the deck. But
Right?
yeah, it's one of those four cards.
But it,
Okay. So I'm just gonna these cards are face down. You can't see it on camera, and if you're listening,
right.
you can't see it anyway. So let's see, which ones are they? It's this one. So I pulled the King of Swords, which is interesting because it's a woman, but the King of Swords, and I don't
Look
know.
at that.
I'm trying to hold it in a way where the camera catches the card and not me.
Right, right.
There we
I,
go.
there we go.
Yeah. Sitting on a gold
Look
crown.
at that. Holding the sword of truth.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
go ahead and describe this card for us.
Oh gosh, it's a beautiful goddess sitting on a golden throne with a white robe and a golden bodice with scarlet red hair. She has a pointed crown around her head, and she's encased in a gold, um, like
Kind of looks like it. Yeah.
throne. Throne, absolutely wearing a, and just sitting there with her legs crossed as her solar plexus is blaring that yellow right there. I'll bet
Mm-hmm.
that fan out. That's her solar
Yeah.
plexus.
Yeah. I
It's
kind of love that the
beautiful.
crown is surrounding her, but not on her head.
Yeah, yeah.
For some reason that's symbolic to me that the crown is around her, and it looks like a crown of roses around her. So,
Uh,
where and typically swords are about higher thinking, intellect, reasoning, that sort of thing. And I feel like this card is so symbolic of what we're coming into because
mhm,
you can be logical and thinking and reasoning and still beautiful and expansive and spiritual and
mhm.
elegant at the same time.
Right,
Like,
right.
where
Yes.
we're higher reasoning intellect. We tend to consider that with maybe industry, again 3D as opposed to 5D, and this card looks like a balance of the two to me.
Sure. Yes. Hmm.
So there's that.
And just like, and to coincide with the cards that I drew, only half of her face is
Covered.
veiled.
Yeah.
Third.
Yes. Yep.
let's see. The Mintonk, that was, well, just the cosmos and the
Mm-hmm.
water and the heaven on earth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow. So, oh, wow. I mean, I just flipped over the other three cards that I pulled out to choose from. And we've got the Page of Swords. I'll hold them up individually, but we have the Hanged Man
Mm-hmm.
and we have the Ten of Cups,
Oh.
right? So,
Mm-hmm.
interestingly, right? So, here's the Page of Swords. And we have a dark skinned woman with white eyes.
I see that.
Yeah.
What is on top? That's a little blurry, and there it's she is like hold it right there.
I'm trying to get it clear, but it's hard to do.
Ooh, that is some beautiful crown that she has on her head, and it almost looks like she's riding on something and diving like down. Something's
Yeah.
breaking, and she is holding the same sword that the like the other
The
goddess
king, yeah,
had.
the king was, yeah.
Yeah, and she has a beautiful gold emerald, almost looking crystal on her high heart there.
What I love is that these swords seem to be made of amethyst.
Uh huh.
So that's a high vibration stone as well. I could actually see it better when I was holding it up to the camera because there was light shining on it. But
Okay.
it looks like there's some sort of a bird or something diving in the background in the
Yeah.
sky.
Right. Like
Yeah.
she's riding it, and like that purple
Yeah.
sash is like where she's sitting.
Yeah.
Huh.
That is interesting. And the page is
That is
typically
really
someone is
interesting.
a page is someone who is new to something. And I think a lot of us now are new to what we're coming into, right? We have a grasp, we have an understanding to a degree of what we want, but we're just learning how to make that happen,
Very,
right?
very interesting.
And then that leads us to the hanged man,
Mm-hmm.
who is the hanged man.
Okay. Yeah. Whole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh,
Oh. Yep.
look,
Right.
look
Yeah.
how his braided hair looks similar to the swords as he's hanging upside down.
Wow. You know what else? Look at how similar his braid looks to a mermaid tail that was on the other card.
Yes. Yeah.
Flowers all around his head.
And he is hanging upside down, kind of being held up by gold
Golden.
curtains or something, I guess.
Yeah,
But the hanged man traditionally in tarot is about being in that space in between.
right.
Doesn't that really explain like where we all are right now?
It, it really, really does,
We're
honestly.
we're
Yeah,
in that space in between,
yeah,
and
that didn't dawn on me.
a lot of people have been coming towards, like I communicate with people
Mm,
nonstop,
oh,
all day,
right,
every day. And a lot of people have been saying, I feel like I'm stuck. You're not stuck. You're in the waiting room, as a way to put it. You're
but
not
it just
stuck.
kind of lets a little pressure off of a person too, because as
Yeah.
being human, being I have to get it, I have to work to get it, and then if you are feeling stuck and you're feeling like, oh, I'm working so hard and I'm spinning in the mud that I've
Mm-hmm.
just cleared off. You got to chill and let the water flow in
Right.
and wash it off
Yeah,
and get
absolutely.
you a clear, these are
Right. And that's what
clear.
that's where that space of being
And
stuck is
maybe this
for.
was all the water that was
Mm-hmm.
in our poll today too. The
Yeah.
Aquarius, and it's Pisces and Aquarius too,
Mm-hmm.
I believe. Somewhere. Yeah, my heart
Absolutely.
just went, yep.
Well, that was a gulp of air. Thank you.
Right?
Just came to the
Pisces.
surface and took a deep breath on that
So
one.
that's going to be a double water.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly. I got one more card that came up with this bunch, and that card is the Ten of Cups. And initially, when looking at it, it looks like a couple, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at all the cups, the Ten of Cups is really about community. It's really about the flow in community and the prosperity in community and sharing. And a community often starts with two people.
Oh, it absolutely does.
Yeah. And this looks like maybe even two different races of people,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
which I
It
think is
does.
absolutely beautiful. I mean, it's a stunning, stunning card, a man and a woman with 10 cups in an arch behind them.
Oh my gosh. And it's just silver beautiful.
Yeah.
And the other card that you pulled that you said was a woman that had white eyes, would
Hmm.
that maybe represent the darker masculine looking person?
I don't know. What do you think? I got to get my head out of the way so you can see it. There you go. My camera has
You know,
autofocus,
I'm not going to say it can't be. I'm not going to
right?
say it can't be because of the headdress. That
Hmm.
that is some kind of headdress, and whatever that
Yeah.
person is that they are riding on. Um,
Yeah.
a unicorn or a dragon or
Yeah. We can't really see what they're riding on,
right, right.
but it does look like she's floating through the sky. And
But it looks like she's coming in hot though,
hmm,
you know.
yeah. And the
That
headdress actually, it looks like kind of a conical hat, but upside down, right? So the wide part
Mhm.
is up
Yeah,
and framed in gold.
yeah.
So that's interesting. I do feel like, I mean, if nothing else, is going to be an interesting year, but it's also, I feel like it's towards the end of the year. And I know that this came through yesterday in the channeling too, but I feel like towards the end of the year, like this year is going to feel like a lot of almost like explosions everywhere, you know?
Yeah,
But
I've heard
as we
that.
get to the end of the year, it feels like we're going to be in December next 11 months from now going, we
No,
made it.
right. Oh,
Like a deep breath, maybe some peace coming in. I feel like
yeah.
a lot of the issues that are at the forefront right now are going to be
Mhm.
resolved globally by the end of the year.
Yeah.
I do feel a lot of individuals leaving, and I'm not talking about like mass destruction things or
Hmm.
anything like that, but I do feel like individuals will be leaving the planet because they're just done.
Yeah.
They finished what they
Well,
came here to do, and they're
there's
finished.
yeah, yeah.
You know. So yeah, it's 2025 is going to be a very interesting year. It's almost like for a lot of people, 2024 seemed to be a hard year. A lot of
Hmm.
people were ready to be done with it. For me, that was 2023.
Yeah.
24 was a pretty good year for me overall.
Hmm.
So, yeah, 25, it feels like it's not going to have anything to do with me personally, but really more community, global,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
Um, lots of new things and new like innovative like things
Yeah,
are
yeah.
with Jupiter, and I'm not sure, I don't want to really go too back to astrology, but um, again that's believe a planet of the water and the Neptune, and with these planets that are just aligning, that
Hmm.
water theme keeps coming back too.
Right, right. And it was interesting to me when I was doing the channeling and something about an earthquake in Japan came up. And later that day, I saw a news thing that there was an earthquake in Japan, like as I was talking about it during the recording, not the day it was released. But yeah,
Yeah.
that was interesting too because I don't typically get those types of messages because I
Right,
ask
right.
I asked the universe, stop giving me messages if I can't do anything about it, right? So, what am I
Right,
going to do about an earthquake?
right, right.
you know, there's nothing I can do about an earthquake, so don't give me that message. And, but it was just interesting that it came out that way
Yeah,
because I wasn't trying to predict weather or anything, but I do feel
right.
like the weather incidences are going to be increasing. I feel like there's going to be
I've
more
heard that
fires. There
too.
was going to be more
Hmm.
tornadoes. There's going to be probably more hurricanes. And last year was crazy with the hurricanes. Oh my God, what?
Yes, yes.
Wow, that was nuts. But I feel like there's going to be more weather related things as the poles are shifting.
Hmm.
And, we're losing glaciers at an amazing rate.
Hmm. Things
Land
are
masses will be
very rapid.
shifting. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh,
A lot of different things. And if we look back over the history of the earth as much as we know how to do, these current land masses haven't always been where they are.
right.
It's always been shifting. So
Right.
that's
Yeah.
not really something new, but
Right.
it's something
Right.
that we're noticing
Right. Uh,
because in our little flea length lifetimes, it's always been one way. And now we're here at a time when things are changing and it's weird for us.
right. And Mother Earth is changing.
Yes. Yeah. As her vibration goes up, we can expect more
Her,
earthquakes.
yes, yes. And that's the light workers need to ground in their light to help Gaia Sophia hold that vibration so Mother Earth can ascend into the higher frequency and leave the
Yeah. And
the
hopefully not break
there's
apart in
a
the
choice,
process. Yeah.
right, the choice point. And
Yeah.
that comes also then back to the snake and the letting go of what is not helping you out in the people.
Hmm.
And it is a damn scary thing to let go of people and their expectations of you and what will they say of that is uh,
Right.
so hard. What will my family think? I can't abandon my family.
Yeah.
That's the part of letting go if they're not
Right.
serving you.
And family, I just want to put this out there too, because I know that there are a lot of people who are estranged from their families for their own mental and emotional health. Families are units that you can create for yourself with other people in your life. And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of us have done that. A lot of us have our friend families, right?
Absolutely.
And that is
Absolutely.
so important. And with today's technology, where we can talk to people all over the world, like literally, I can
Mm-hmm.
connect to England or Australia or the Philippines as fast as I can connect to you 3 hours from me,
Right, right,
you
right,
know? So, family is developing all over the world. And we're realizing how small our world is until we go out and try to drive our world. Because, it takes me 4 days to drive to Seattle. And I know somebody's going to say, oh, it only takes me two. Okay, but I don't want to kill myself doing it. So, 2 to 4 days driving from Milwaukee to Seattle, say,
right, right.
when you can fly it in 4 hours,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, our concepts of time have been really twisted. I mean, and I
Right.
don't mean twisted in a bad way, but changed.
Changed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, I agree
Yeah.
with that. I agree with that. And the whole timeline thing
Oh
um,
my gosh.
was,
Oh,
yeah, okay. So I'm not alone. We don't have to, because I just
oh.
talk about timelines and I go, but wait, what? So,
I know, right? It
right?
is, it's a
That's
little
right
bit
in the
crazy
face.
because
So I'll
some
just
days, yeah, some days
not,
seem to take
I'll
forever, and other days are like, I just got up. Now I'm going back to bed.
right. I'll be okay with not knowing the whole story. It'll be okay.
Yeah.
That's my leave it.
Yeah. And
Yep.
for those of us who need to have information, that's where we tend to either make up our own information or connect in with other people who made up information. But really, the bottom line is everything's made up anyway, right? Because we create our own lives,
Right.
we
Right.
create
That,
everything
that
in our
takes a
lives.
minute. That takes a minute to realize as
Yeah.
well that.
Yeah.
It's that takes a minute for a person to come to that realization when they don't know, when they're in this process before letting go.
Right.
And that's, yeah, it's a big decision. It's a big choice to say, I'm not going to do that anymore for myself.
Right.
Once you do make that decision, the miracles that will fall in front of you to say, yes, you are
Right.
worth it, um, are absolutely 100%.
Right.
The,
Exactly.
yeah,
And it's like when you said letting go, all of a sudden what popped in my eyes, into my mind, was the image of a child holding onto a balloon floating through the air. And if I let go, I don't know where I'm going to land.
right. You
I don't
have
know if
to,
someone's going to catch me.
right.
I don't know anything because if I let go of this one thing that I know, then what? It's a free fall. I don't know where I'm going.
Yeah, and you don't feel safe, so you're not going to let go.
Right.
So you have to feel safe within
Mm-hmm.
yourself. You have to know that yourself has your own back.
Yes.
And that's
Yes.
where you have to heal all those wounds where your parents, brothers, siblings, teachers, all your karma, um,
And even
past
society.
lives, and societies, the expectations, disappointment of
Mm-hmm.
expectations, disappointment and expectations,
Yeah.
and the misery of being in love. You know, that,
Well, I don't know. We're going to go
you
there.
know, being
Yeah.
in love, and then having the disappointment, and
Right.
and you have
Right.
to work through that, and you
Right. And I would
forgive.
like to say not everybody who's in love has disappointment, you know?
Oh
I mean,
no,
yeah.
no,
Yeah.
not everybody,
Right.
no. And it's just the agony we put ourselves through.
Mostly out of
Industrial life,
expectations. Yeah.
the expectations, the disappointment of expectations. We went out to dinner. I thought he'd buy me flowers, but he didn't. I'm just holding expectations to people, or,
Right.
you know, those sort of things, the judgment things, and the that are letting go.
Right. Right. And with family roles, gender roles, spousal roles changing, and have been changing since the 1970s when more women went into the workforce again
Hmm.
after World War One and Two. Then there seemed to be a break where women went back into the home, and I don't know about you, but my mom worked. Being raised in the 70s, my mom had a job. She worked,
Hmm.
you know,
Hmm. Yeah.
and as we've moved into life, and I also, again, I don't know about you and what your expectations were. My expectation was never to be a stay-at-home mom.
Right. Right.
You know, my expectation was always to have some sort of job or
Uh-huh.
some sort of
Right.
business
Yeah.
so all of those things changing where we are not back in the traditional way. And as we're moving through this, it kind of looks like, we're talking about community and creating smaller communities and growing and food and sharing it and, really creating our own systems of helping each other out where we're
Hmm.
not so dependent on other systems. That kind of sounds in some ways like we're going backwards, but that's not the way it looks.
Right.
It looks like more equality. It looks
Right.
like more equity. It,
Right.
you know what I mean?
I
So,
do. I do. If
yeah,
I see the side. Right. Yeah.
right.
Hmm.
So I am overall a little apprehensive. I'm not going to go full on fear, but I'm a little bit apprehensive about what this year holds, especially the first part of the year.
Yeah.
But after that, I'm pretty excited about it. I don't know about
Yeah.
you, but I'm seeing a lot of expansion
Yes.
for Mother
Hmm.
Earth and its
Yeah.
inhabitants. Yeah.
Right. Same here. Same here. And I am hoping for a lot of healing too,
Yeah.
on a collective level, that people kind of can by leaning on each other, find themselves,
Mm-hmm.
to be a better person. If you're, whatever your beef is with whoever it is, for whatever reason, just to say, I'm not gonna let it bother me anymore. And for a
Right.
while, when I'm like letting go, I'm like, what do you mean? I don't want it. Let it go. So I had a
Yeah.
better when you have those thoughts in your head, you know, I didn't get the raise at work. Why aren't they seeing me? That voice in your head, that's the one that you have to let go of. That's the ego. Um, and you can probably help me out with more of describing what the ego, what its job is,
Well,
but
the ego, basically, my understanding, and I admit my understanding is somewhat limited to, like two psychology classes in college in the 80s. So, you know,
right,
not updated information, but what I get
right,
intuitively is that the ego is how we tell one of us from another, right? It's our
right.
personalities.
It's our
It's our
personalities.
personalities. And so I have never been one to say, oh, you got to kill the ego. You got to let go of your
Oh,
ego.
okay.
I feel like it's important to have an ego, but it's also important to keep it in check,
Right,
you
right.
know,
Yeah, okay, right.
because you're you and I love you who you are. I
Mhm.
wouldn't want you to
Right,
get rid of everything that makes you you.
right.
Do you see what I'm
Not
saying?
not
So,
everything, but
right,
there's that part of you that you don't like, that
right,
that's your wounded part that you don't like, to healing your broken heart,
right.
you know,
I don't know about you. I have trouble
heal.
letting go of those wounded parts
Right.
because I feel like I'm abandoning a hurt child if I do that.
Mhm.
So I don't want to necessarily let go of it. I want to heal it.
Correct.
I
And
want
that's
to
that's why
embrace
I
that
was
part.
saying, that's why I
Yeah,
was like letting go. We should change the whole name of what it's called,
right,
because it's really not letting go at all. Because you're hanging on for dear life because you're scared,
right, exactly.
until you heal that inner child to feel safe
Right.
again, we'll call it maybe moving on from,
Moving on. Yep.
you know, moving on instead of moving
And
on from that memory and that pain. And I can just jump in with a goddess,
yeah,
saying that I have seven of them, and they have initiations that you can embody, and they can help you. Um, well, they help me help you, show you the words and the body, the chakras, that all of these are. And there's movements that you can do, and exercises and
yeah.
things to heal those.
And I think communication is really the key for all of it, right? Because for some people, letting go means one thing, and for other people, it means something entirely
Right.
different. So
Oh,
having that
absolutely.
conversation.
Right. Because and it's still, letting go is still so mainstream, and I'm
Hmm.
still like, even after all this time, I'm like, they got to come up with something, a better
Yeah.
idea. Because, like you said, letting go of the balloon, I'm not
Yeah.
going to,
Well,
unless I
no.
know what's catching me. You
Right. And
know?
unless I know that I'm safe when I land, you
Right.
know?
And you can say my mom, my dad, my husband, brother, they always will catch me, you
Right.
know, when I fall. And you have to get to the self that will say, I got your back. Here we go.
I
Because
love that. Yeah.
nobody else has got your back like you have your back.
Yeah. I wanted to add something else in that I've been seeing lately that I really like.
Mm-hmm.
And it's tied into the letting go, but it's let them. Let them be who they are.
Mm-hmm.
Let
Mm-hmm.
them show you who they are so that you don't have to hold on to who you want them to be.
Right.
And
Right.
that is a much more gentle way of letting go for me.
Yes, I love that. I
Yeah.
love
I've been
that.
seeing a lot of that lately, and I'm embracing that. You
Yeah.
know, show me who you are, and I'll stop questioning it.
Mm-hmm.
Because, don't some of us do that? Some of us who may have like codependency issues do that,
Absolutely.
where, somebody will tell you who they are, or they'll show you who they are, and you're like, no, you're not really that person. You're this wonderful person over here that I have in my
Right,
mind you're supposed to be, you
right,
know?
right. And then that goes back to what the identity.
Mm-hmm.
Someone holds an identity for you, and you're afraid that if you do this for yourself, they're not going to think that way, and you'll lose that identity of yourself. When
Right.
you have to create a whole new one
To please
over
somebody
here.
else, and
Right. And you have to
yeah,
make your own. You have to make your own identity then if they're not coming with you.
right.
Because
And for
they're
some
not
people, this is a scary
supporting.
thing.
And it's
It can be a scary
scary.
thing, like,
It's
okay, I'm
scary.
going to move on without my adult kids being right next door, right? I'm going to move on from
Mhm.
that. But that can be scary because parents like to hold on to their children. And the
They
kids are
do.
like, yeah, nice house on the other side of the state. Mom, I think you should move there.
Right,
You know?
right, right. And
Yeah. So,
and then then you can go through the whole the sadness of
hmm
and the grief of missing your family, the loneliness and the grief.
hmm
And then, the battle with depression. And you have to then pull yourself, you have to reach up and grab that pole. And
hmm
there will be someone there to grab it if you reach your hand up and say, help, I
yeah.
can't do it anymore.
That's why
And
we
there,
have spirit guides and goddesses and
and
angels and all of that.
right.
Yeah.
And if you're, and if you don't hear anything right away, just know. And it's tricky. It's tricky when you're
Yeah.
so human and you're so used to a conversation or a feeling of
And when you don't hear something right away, this is where you are.
right,
You are in the hanged man position right there
right.
because that's what it's
You
for.
know,
It's for taking that pause.
and you just
Yeah.
have to, I guess, and I just heard take a leap of faith.
Mm-hmm.
If you want, like I said, as soon as you commit to wanting better for yourself, I don't want to do this anymore. You see what I'm up against. I
Mm-hmm.
don't, I'm done. I see it. And you reach your hand up, they're close now.
Yeah. They are
And
very close
they
now.
are, and they're like, okay, this one got one ready,
Yep, exactly. This has been an
so go
incredible
for it.
discussion.
Go
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah, this has been a great discussion, and I know that a
Yeah,
lot of people are going to get a lot out of this.
I
So
hope
tell us
so.
how someone gets a hold of you if they want to learn more and be mentored by you for the Sophia, and the key codes.
Oh, well, thanks for asking, Christina. Right now, I just have on the Facebook Messenger. I have created my business name as Jules Soul Therapy. That's capital JEWLES, capital THERAPY,
I'm writing
and
that down.
Soul Jules Soul Therapy. Jules Soul Therapy on Facebook, the Messenger.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, it was so
This has
fun.
been
It
first of all
was
fun.
so fun. Yes.
Yeah.
And I
And
will definitely, we got lots more to talk about.
oh, we sure do. And we would definitely going to be doing this again. So,
Okay.
again, if you want to get a hold of Julie, yeah, it is at Jules,
So,
okay, Jules as in Jewel apostrophe S, right?
yes, yes,
Jules
Jules
Soul
Soul
Therapy.
Therapy.
Yeah. And that is a Facebook Messenger group. Yes.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Love to
Thank
answer
you.
any questions or just
Yeah.
meet new people. It's all
Awesome.
wonderful.
It sure is. Thank you so
Okay,
much, Julie, for joining me
Christina,
today.
thank you.
Blessings to you.
Thank you.
Blessings to all of you.
Yes,
And
thank you.
I will see you again next time. on Paramystic Christina.